welcome back to another episode of Coffee at Rosevine Cottage. Grab a cup of coffee and we're going to dive right in. Have you ever noticed that when God tells us to do something or calls us to a certain place, it doesn't always make sense? The Bible is literally filled with these moments, from God telling Moses to strike a rock for water, to holding his staff over his head so the Israelites can claim the victory, or even when Jesus tells Peter to throw his nets over the side of the ship in the heat of the day. Oftentimes, the things we are called to, the places that he leads us, will look ridiculous to others and even to ourselves. As we slide into Joshua 6, we find yet another instance of this, as the Lord tells Joshua to lead his soldiers around the walls of Jericho, not once, not twice, but every single day for a 7-day period. Not only that, but the priests carrying horns and the Ark of the Covenant are to go as well. As they are making this hike around the city, the priests are to blow their horns, while the people remain silent. Day 1, they set out and make their way around the walls of the city. We can only imagine the reaction of the people inside the city. They were already frightened of the Israelites. They'd heard the stories of the Lord's provision. The story of the Red Sea and countless other times have been passed around for the last 40 years. They are frightened. They've shut themselves in the city and closed the gates behind them. And they can see the procession get closer and closer and closer, with just the sound of the ram's horns and the stamp of feet. Power doesn't have to shout. They can see the dust curl in the sky from the people's feet. This is it. This is the moment they've been fearing. But the Israelites don't attack. They keep walking. The people in the city watch, waiting, ears straining for the sound of battle as they start circling the city. After they circle the city, they return to the camp. Day 2, same thing. I wonder how many days it took for the intimidation to start wearing off. Guys, don't know if you missed it, but the gate is back that way. You've only walked by it twice now. Day 3. The Israelites are back at it. I wonder how many times around the city walls before the whispering started. We've done this already and nothing happened. We look ridiculous. It's hot, we're tired, so when is God going to come through on his end of this? How long before the age-old question rose to the surface once again? Sure, he came through back there with Moses. He came through for our parents and our grandparents. But what about this time? Will he come through for me? Will he do this for us? Day 4, same thing. Day 5. By now it's beginning to feel like a broken record. The people of Jericho have got to be confused because to them this looks ridiculous. This is the army they have feared so much that they've retreated into the city, but all they've done is walk and blow their horns. Day 6 looks a whole lot like the last 5, but what they don't know is God's getting ready to move. Each step around that city takes them closer. Each blast of the horn ushers them a little closer. I wonder, did they know in those inky hours of darkness before dawn on day 7? Did they sense the difference? As the darkness of the horizon shifted and the Israelites once again prepared to repeat what they'd done all week, could they feel the anticipation in the camp that God was going to come through just like he promised so many times? Or feel the nervousness that comes when we know that he's going to come through, but we just can't see how? Did the townspeople go about their business as normal as Rahab gathered her family into the very thing that was about to fall? I wonder, did she explain the promise she was clinging to? God doesn't ask us to understand. He just asks us to show up and then keep showing up. When you've been doing this same thing over and over again and nothing changes, when you've been praying the same prayer day after day, but you still can't see a difference, when you've walked around your personal Jericho again and again, but the walls are still standing and you can't see a result, keep showing up. Keep praying that prayer. Keep doing that last thing that he told you to do until he is ready to move. Jericho will never fall the first round. Only in the repetitive act of faith that brings us back each day. It's in the obedience that the Israelites returned each time that the walls fell. It's easy to do something once and then give up on it once the walls don't immediately fall, but it's when our request isn't instantly met, but the lesson of this place is in the waiting. The lesson is in the following through even when it doesn't make sense, and continuing when we've already been through this. We've already done this over and over and over, and it doesn't look right and it doesn't make sense. It's here that we learn. God likes to use what the world deems as ridiculous. He likes taking what we would say is out of place, like Rahab, and using it for His glory. So often we want to throw our hands in the air and walk away after the first round, but there are some Jerichos, some strongholds in our lives that cannot be won just the first round. It takes that repetitive going back over and over and over before it will fall. This is where our faith grows. It grows in, I don't see the way, but I'm still here. It doesn't make sense. It's not physically possible in my strength, but I'm here, and this is where He has called me, and this is where I'm going to stay. It may look weird. People may not get it, but my God has promised me this place, and I am going to keep walking around the city until the walls fall. And then day 7 dawns. And the Israelites head out, but this time, when the priests blow their horn, the people shout, and God moves just like He promised. And the walls crumble. The battles we fight aren't always quick. Sometimes they take the day in, day out kind of fighting that requires the faith to move past our disappointments, of not seeing a change. When we get so caught up needing to understand, needing it to make sense, when we just need to keep going, to keep obeying and keep walking around our Jerichos until they fall. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope it blessed you. Take a moment, leave us a comment, share it with your friends, and join us again next week. We'd love to have you.